Well, welcome back to the Throttle Up Podcast. This week we got Urinating Tree or Steve. Great to have you on, man. Of course, you got a big social media following in terms of YouTube. You also got a big following on X as well. Well, still got it Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone actually call it X? That's the
No,
question.
like why would you even call it X? It's Twitter. It's
Yeah,
so,
it's like nobody calls it Meta. It's Facebook. Same
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, it's like the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. Like I just
No,
got that down. It's Xfinity. Now
yeah,
it's Bush.
it's Bush Grand. I know it is Bush Grand National, Winston Cup. Although Nextel could be a two, maybe Sprint, but it was always Winston
Yep.
and Craftsman Truck Series, which apparently it's no longer Craftsman Truck Series. It's just Truck Series now. It's like, come on.
Well, no, they still got the Craftsman. So
Oh,
they
okay.
still got Craftsman, but they may be going away from a full that Craftsman may be going away. So we'll figure
Well,
all that out later.
yeah,
But
I think Craftsman like got it was Sears' old brand and then got bought out by Home Depot, but it's not really a brand anymore. It's just more of just yeah.
yeah, it's just a subsidiary now.
Hmm.
But yeah, so what we like to do on the Throttle Up podcast, we always like to talk about somebody's story before we go into just talking about the big stuff. And you're a commentator on sports, so you've been doing this for years, where you do this week in sports ball.
Hmm.
So, what got you started in YouTube, and how has that grown since then?
I mean, as I said, this year is going to be the 10th year since I more or less came back, like in late 2016. I had been doing it on and off since I think 2007, I believe, 2006. But as I said, it was just like on and off. There was a time where I took about like 5, 6 years off, didn't really do much with anything, and just went with life. And then randomly, I just, 2016 election happened, and like the video's still up. It's called "The Mainstream Media Needs to Die." So I found an old Radio Shack mic. It's like rattling in the background when you're moving. It's just like so 2007 coded. There was an old like footage of Windows Movie Maker. And if you've ever used that program, it's terrible. It is so unintuitive. It's just like you just push things together. It's just like a clip show. That's all it is. But I just fell in love with video making again, and I didn't expect this. I figured it would just be just general stuff, and I know the first video I did was Cleveland Browns. So
Yeah.
that was one when they were starting to be 0-16, not the first time in 2016 when they lost to or they beat the Chargers. And there was a video at the time. It was called Only in Cleveland, a history of the Browns after like the revival. But the only problem is that video only goes up to the Jimmy Haslam era. It's an outstanding video if you ever get the chance. Like the B-roll, I could never find any of it. It's brilliant. It's well made and it goes into a lot of depth and detail. But once again, I wanted to challenge myself and try to bridge that video and the modern era, which was 0-16, because a lot had happened in the Jimmy Haslam era, but that never really got talked about. So that was my first video. It was very raw. It took me a while just to like start everything up because I was still trying to figure things out. And
Hmm.
I thought that was going to be it. I figured it'd get like, like 5 views and just go nowhere. And then now, 10 years later, I'm at 1.5 million. I wouldn't have dreamed that at all. I think I've had a couple hit, I think one or two hit 2 million, which is crazy. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
oh,
the Cleveland Browns, the 0 and
the
16.
16 montage, I think hit 2 million, I believe. Something like
Yeah,
2.1.
I think it's at 2.6. I could be
Oh,
wrong. I
really?
could be wrong.
I haven't
But
I haven't checked in a while.
yeah.
My information's out of date.
But yeah, it's yeah, you definitely got some crazy number of views on some videos there, but and also for me, like I'm so involved in racing, your videos are good to watch just to like get a recap of what's going on because
Hmm.
all the people in my office where I work, they're all talking about football and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let me just play urinating tree video real quick and see what's see what's
I
going
don't know
on.
if that's a good idea, but hey, I'll take it.
Well, I just put my earbuds in, I'm like, okay, all right, well, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Now I can turn around and talk about what's
Yeah,
going on.
hey, you can talk smack about the Cowboys, or I know. Are you based more in St. Louis or Kansas City?
So I'm right in the center.
Ah,
So
okay.
I'm I mean, I'm Kansas City fan, but when people got up and all in arms about them moving to Kansas, I'm just like, well, all right, well, it's cool.
Yeah, it's better than the St. Louis option where they just leave and just burn an entire city. Yeah, they had a huge lawsuit about that too, because
Yep.
the NFL, Kroenke just threw the entire city under the bus. And the NFL had to pay them, I think, a metric ton to just pay off their stadium and a few other things just to prevent stuff from coming out.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm not mad about the Rams leaving because we got an incredible dirt race that happens every December. So if you ever
Nice.
heard about Dirt in December, that I love
Is,
that event.
is that
So
at the old Edward Jones Dome?
it's at the old Center of America Mall.
Oh, yeah, it's like the old Ram Stadium. I think,
Yeah,
as I said,
exactly.
I know it is the Edward Jones Dome. So that's
Oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha. So there was a bunch of jokes coming out that was like, oh yeah, just turn the Kansas City football stadium into a dirt track and we'll have a grand all time. But hey, I'm all for that. But yeah, so when you started your YouTube channel, what did you expect it to go to? Like, what did you expect from it? What was the goal when you first started it?
when I first started. I expected nothing. I'm going to be honest here. I just did it for shits and giggles. My name, Urinating Tree. I wish I had some grand story about how I peed on a tree and got struck by lightning, and that's how I came up with the name. It's just me being edgelord on Xbox Live when I was 15. I think the game was Rainbow Six Black Arrow, I believe it was. It was a multiplayer game about 20 years ago on Xbox Live. And I'm just sitting there playing that game. I'm thinking, it'd be a funny name, Urinating Tree. And I don't know, it just stuck.
There you
It's
go.
weird.
Hey,
I know it's not exactly the name you think of with sports, but as I said, long story. It's random evolution. You don't expect certain things to come and go, and
yeah.
that's just
I've talked to a few people. I'm just like, yeah, we're talking with this one guy about we're talking to Urinating Tree about coming on. They're like, what now? Like, and I'm like, you've seen a video of his, trust me. And they're like, I have, and I'm like, yeah. And and then
jeez.
I show them your video or channel, and they're like, interesting name. And I go, yeah, it's a great
And
name. Like,
it's like, great. I'm never watching this guy again. Block channel.
but yeah, it's like it's a name that you're just like, why is this his name? And that's what sticks with you, and you're like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
great. I'm gonna watch this guy's videos again. So, hey, I like it. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So, how do you see this channel growing in the future, and what are your plans with it?
Ooh. I mean, honestly, the problem is I wish I just had more time. There's a lot I want to get to. I mean, I'm long overdue for a legacy of failure. I've been working on a few of those for a while, but most of it I just get caught up in the day-to-day grind. Short term, the biggest thing is the NFL draft in Pittsburgh in about a month. I want to at least try and do it live there day one. I'll definitely be down there for a bunch of the days. I know it's going to be a zoo because now
Yeah.
you have like an infrastructure. Pittsburgh infrastructure is terrible. It is nothing but bridges, and you only have a few of them. And there's no real public transport. There's only light rail that goes to one area of the city. The rest you have to drive. So every hotel from here to like the entirety of Allegheny County is sold out. Like it is filled to the brim for the like 3 days,
Yeah.
and it is just going to be chaos and pandemonium. And I'm just going to be there, like, I don't know, just probably in this hoodie. Nah, it'll be too hot for the hoodie. But
Hey, go
maybe
for
to avoid the Steelers extermination squads.
it.
But as I said, it should be a great time. As I said, I'm looking forward to going down there. I'll meet up with a bunch of creators probably that'll be down there as well. I know 5 Points. I collab with him like every
Yeah.
Tuesday night for Dumpster Fire. I'll be with him. A couple people that I work with as well will be down there, so I'll definitely be doing stuff there too. But I do not expect to get anything to eat down there. I do not expect to be able to get a drink down there. It is going to be just wall to wall, just jammed. I will be a sardine in wide open space.
Y'all
And
should do
they've,
like a on the street, creators on the
yeah,
street or something like that.
yeah, maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea. As I said,
Hey.
I can think it's like, yeah, are Steelers going Super Bowl? No, okay, and then I just get socked in the face. Hey, it would make good content.
It
I'm
would
just
make
saying it. Okay.
great content. Would you need security at the same time? Probably, but that can be a
Here's the
later thing.
thing. Do I really need security? I mean, I have to take it like a man.
Yeah, there you
That's the
go.
whole
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
I'm not exactly buku bucks here, so I can't afford security.
Hey, just go there and just like, I don't know, just have a good time and
Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
be incognito about it, you know?
hmm
Yeah, there
I
you
said
go.
I'll park further away from the city, take the T down, and just go from there.
Exactly. So, all right, if someone is starting their YouTube channel today, how would you what would your advice be to them?
Ooh,
Like,
honestly, my main advice is just start creating. Just don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to find your own voice in ways that you wouldn't think would happen. I think the main thing there is with YouTube. It is a wide open market, but the thing is, you have to be unique. What sets you apart from every other creator? And
yeah,
if it's going to be filling a niche, or if it's going to be something like taking a style or a twist on certain things. Isaac punts, for example. He's a former D2 punter. He focuses on kicking and punting, like, and that's his niche. And he found really great strides with it. Brandon Perna, for example, he struggled for years. Then he found like sort of like the ESPN style, and just people go to him to laugh at the Broncos' misery or success, and he built in that. Tom Grossi, live action reactions, and he built his way into that, and
yeah,
a lot of the charity work too. So my main thinking is, once again, it's just start creating, and
yeah,
honestly, always try to find a way to improve one aspect of your videos in each given video. I think that's the main thing as well. Don't be like, as I said, don't go into this for views, money, fame, accolades, because if you do that, you're going to fail. I think the reality is you have to find something you enjoy doing and something that, maybe could work out. But at the end of the day, I feel like it should be more for creative release. That's
for
just
sure.
how I see it, at least early on.
Yeah, if you ask 99% of people that have ever tried to go after social media, it's always, oh, it never worked out. Yeah, because and they've worked for a year on it and they never worked out, or it never worked out for 2 to 3 years and then it finally just did.
Yeah,
So,
sometimes it's weird like that because there are a bunch of people. Once again, Tom Grossi and Brandon Perna, they struggled for years.
yeah,
But and then it just randomly took off. You never know.
yeah, exactly. Something will click with someone and I mean, something will click with a group of people and then people will start
Hmm.
sharing it and then you go from there and
Yeah.
build a brand, which you've had the same
Eh,
experience with that.
Oh yeah. Especially like nowadays, I'd argue it's both easier and harder
Yes.
to do it than 10 years ago. Easier as in you can get a viral video instantly, especially with shorts, TikTok. I can't snap my fingers, so that's why I don't do it like that. You
I
try to
got you. No
flex.
problem, bro.
I know it's all good, but my main thinking is, as I said, it's very easy to get a viral video, but it's very hard to retain it,
Yes.
especially with short form content. They don't follow the long form. It is very like if, for example, I'm on my phone, it's just like scroll, scroll, scroll. That's funny. Scroll. It's just like it turns into just like a sort of like a hypnotic phase,
Yes.
but it's very fast, very quick. You have to be boom, 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 boom,
Hmm.
boom. But at the same time, you don't create those lasting relationships. And it can be harder in that aspect because that sort of growth takes a long time.
Yeah. And what I've kind of seen is that you got to make a viral video, which somehow one of them has got to work. One video's got to work. Then
Hmm.
once you do that, you got to capture it and keep uploading so people can have retention.
Yeah. And
So
there's a
then people
pressure
want to
there
come back.
too because there's no off switch. Now you're thinking like, okay, I have this video do well. I want to keep that up. How do I do that?
Yeah. And also, then people are trying to like one up their previous video. And then
Hmm.
eventually you'll have like, because we've all seen it where creators, no matter who they are, um, probably about 30%, 40% of the creators that you know, you've probably watched in the past, and they've said something, done something that has ultimately kind of ruined them in some sort of way.
For example, the Hawk Tuah girl. Remember, she was 2 years ago, huge, and it just
Yep.
came out of nowhere. I'm just sitting there like, this girl's popular, okay. I mean, more power to her. And then she got involved in a crypto scam scheme, and she's just nothing now. It can go so fast,
Yeah.
and
And
you got to
her,
be careful about that.
the thing is, she needed a management team to help her, but the
She didn't
management
have it.
team did such a horrible job, and she did
Hmm.
not do a good job of responding to it. So,
Yeah, and she had a bad advice from people around her. She thought like, oh, I can just go with crypto, but she knew nothing about crypto.
yeah,
So
exactly. And they all, and then she tried to defend it, like, and she didn't even know what she was talking about. So
yeah.
it was a whole big thing there. But
Hmm. And now there are a bunch of videos talking about the downfall of the Hawk Tuah girl.
yeah, the
Now it's
amount
that's
of
the hot topic.
the amount of attention she has gotten just from doing that
Yeah.
when there was nothing else good that came out of that, maybe like a little bit of a few podcast clips. But other than that, it the rise and fall of her needs to be studied.
I think it's just like as I said, it was literally one line from another TikToker's like user feed, and it just blew up overnight.
Yeah.
And it just sometimes it's just how it goes.
Hmm.
You have people that just they get popular for. I mean, even they probably don't know. It's like, wait, how did I get famous over this? I don't know. And then it can go. That's the problem with the internet. Like as I said,
Yeah.
there's no real lasting power. Like it can come, it can go, and there are people that I haven't watched in years I'm still subscribed to, but it's just the nature of the beast. It's like that's what's put in front of me.
Yeah,
And sometimes
exactly.
people go through trends, people go through different phases. It's just you have to accept that. And I mean, there are times where I feel like, oh, people call me washed too, but as I said, it's just the internet, man.
Yeah. People are always going to change their taste, and
Hmm.
people are always going to, I mean, the creators themselves are people. You're a person,
Yeah. The
obviously.
internet itself changes over time.
Yeah.
And the problem is if you stay the same, guess what? People are gonna realize that too now.
Yeah,
They don't want to watch the
exactly.
same thing.
Yeah. People want to find new things all the time, and so you got to always kind of try to mix it up there. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Speaking of mixing it up, NASCAR,
Hmm.
over the years has made a lot of decisions that have kind of pushed fans away. And I know we have talked a little bit about you used to be a heavy NASCAR fan,
Yeah.
and then kind of it pushed you away. What would you say? What would you say NASCAR has done that's kind of pushed you away as a fan over the years?
I think it's a combination of factors. Like I was slowly starting to fade out in like the mid to late 2000s, and then slowly it got to the point where I wasn't even paying attention or didn't watch at all. And then by the time I start repaying attention, I don't even recognize the product. Like you have overtime
Yep.
lines, stage racing, which is I think still goes against anything resembling racing because I feel like it should be one continuous circuit instead of a competition caution. And
100%.
and then the playoffs, which they try to make it into this stick and ball sport, but racing's not a stick and ball sport. And I
Yeah.
think NASCAR is finally realizing that. And I just hope it's not too late. I mean, so far the races have been good because now I'm just sitting here thinking, oh wow, like if somebody random like a Harrison Burton wins, they're not automatically locked into a playoff spot. Now it's more about a consistency, which, as I said, I still would go with a 36 race system.
Mm-hmm.
But
Me as
as I
well.
said, it's a fair compromise for what it is, and I'll see
Yes,
how it goes first, and then we can reassess from there.
for sure. And the one thing I don't like about it is that they put so much emphasis on the win now, which
Yeah,
I like that, but at the same time, it like Formula One has a good combination of like you win, you get
and
so many X
consistency.
points out of this, and as it goes down, it kind of trickles down of like how big the gap is from each one.
Hmm.
NASCAR, it's literally a 20-point gap from first to second, and then 1 point all the way
That
across.
doesn't make sense. Like at least it
Yeah,
should be, oh, it should reward top fives and top tens because
exactly.
it's a consistency aspect. It's not just
Yes.
you win, you get all the marbles. Maybe say 10 points from first to second, and then maybe I would say maybe five from second to fifth, and then two from sixth to tenth, and then 1 point from there. That might make sense. It could use some tweaking, but at the same time, it will reward top fives and top tens, and then the winning would get you a hefty bonus as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Um, I think so. My local short track, we actually do, I think we do a pretty good job of that, is where the first five positions are 2 point or 3 points down. From
Mm-hmm.
fifth to from sixth to 10th, it's 2 points. And then from
Mm-hmm.
10th, well, 10th on down, it's 1 point. So then you have a little bit of a trade-off there where it's like, okay, well, this makes sense. Where you're rewarding the people that are consistent, but you're also rewarding those wins as well.
Yeah,
So,
I think NASCAR is just definitely afraid of having another like Joey Logano in 2024 or Matt Kenseth in 2002, where they win a championship, but they don't really win a race or they kind of backdoor into it.
hmm.
And I mean, I think a lot of people would like love a Matt Kenseth from 2002, even though he didn't win because he was incredibly consistent. His average finish was really high that year.
Yes, it was incredible. And I think people, I mean, that's what people want. I think last year people really kind of just showed their displeasure with the whole system
Hmm.
because you had Corey Heim, who everyone was like, he needs to win, he needs to win, he needs to win. And then he won the championship, and everyone
And
was
he
like,
nearly
cool.
lost.
yeah, it was like cool, but he was like 1 point away or one position away from not winning the
from losing.
championship.
Hmm.
I love the thumbs up emoji that just came out of nowhere. That was pretty cool.
I did not know. I thought that I didn't know if that was you or that was someone else, but
I guess okay, great. Zoom
let me
has
see.
that.
Is it me? No, I don't get it. I don't get the thumbs up.
Wow.
Ah,
Dang.
boo.
Biased. All right. So it's like NASCAR, just biased. Okay, so
Yeah.
but no, yeah, it was I mean, people were up in arms about like, oh, Corey Heim, if he didn't do this, it'd be a joke to NASCAR. Then Connor Zilisch the next day, and then
Yeah.
oh, Denny Hamlin does everything right for the championship, and then NASCAR throws a BS caution. Well, it wasn't really a BS caution, but it
Yeah.
just showed the fact that the entire fan base was done with the system.
Yeah, I think the problem is like everyone was complaining though Kyle Larson was the legitimate
Hmm.
champion that year in a regular system, which is even more insane because you've created a system that's so convoluted that the rightful champion is getting like pissed at because of the system itself. And Danny Hamlin, I think, would have finished sixth, I believe, in the
Yeah,
regular system.
but it was just like, okay, he did everything right within the get. Like, okay, Connor Zilisch won every single race. He
He
did
won like eight
amazing.
of nine races. I think he dominated for a long stretch.
Exactly. And he did amazing. And he lost the championship because of the points format. Then the
Mhm.
next day, okay, you say, oh, the people have to perform when the time comes. Well, Denny performed all day. And then this random occurrence happened. And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, it's indicative of the system where you have the whole fan base that was content with Denny winning. And that was what they were okay with. And then you strip that away
Hmm.
and then now people are pissed because obviously they what they thought was reality is no longer reality
Hmm.
because you just switched it like that. And that's
Yeah.
why motorsports you can't have a playoff system because
Yeah.
there's so many factors in what's going to happen.
Especially if you have one of those playoff spots in a super speedway, which nowadays Daytona Talladega, it's musical chairs. If
Yeah.
you are in the wrong spot, guess what? You're getting wiped out in a big one. And
Yeah.
guess what? If that's one of your playoff spots that gets you eliminated, you're kind of SOL.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole, I mean, with Tyler Reddick this year winning the Daytona 500, it was cool and all, but it was you look at the photo finish of him coming to the line, it's just like it's indicative of last lap plate
Yeah.
racing
Well,
where
at least they let him race. They didn't get through the
yes,
caution. I,
100%.
I I appreciate that.
Yeah, but it was just like in the last lap, we have the leader who is leading gets wrecked. You get a wreck down the back stretch, you get a wreck in the front stretch, and it's the last man standing who wins.
Hmm.
It
I
didn't
said
really
musical
matter. It
chairs.
didn't really matter who put their car in front before the final lap, which Carson Hocevar, who was leading on the final lap, he's got the same argument of who should have won the Daytona 500, and that's kind of taken away from the Daytona 500 a little bit
Hmm.
because people now it's just okay, were you happen to not get into a wreck? Cool. Did you make the right moves on the final lap? Cool. You
Yeah.
won.
And that's the problem nowadays in that situation. You don't have to pay attention until the final few laps, which
Yeah,
takes away from ratings.
exactly. So moving on to the next point here. Um, pretty much how did you get into NASCAR in the first place? And like
Ooh.
how did that all come about?
I loved cars when I was a kid. So that's mainly how it is. And you see cars like going fast, roaring engines, turning left. That's the way to go. My favorite car was oddly the 21 Sitco car, like of Wood Brothers. So Morgan Shepherd, Michael Waltrip, Elliott Sadler. Like those were I didn't have any affection for the drivers. It was the car. I don't know
Yeah,
why. It was just the color scheme. It was really smooth for what it was.
absolutely.
It's a bit of
Yeah,
a Rusty Wallace fan. I mean, especially in that old black and brown Miller Genuine draft car. I mean, I didn't mind the Miller Lite car, but the MGD, that was a timeless like paint scheme.
absolutely. Yeah. That was that was definitely a great paint scheme and we need to get more of those paint schemes back where it's just iconic, but
Yeah.
um
I think that sponsors more in general. I think the thing too, they do throwback schemes, but it's not the same.
oh, 100%. They said that this last weekend was the last throwback race that they're doing.
Mm,
Just because I mean, what can you throw back to anymore? Like
yeah.
everyone's done all the things. So,
Yeah.
um,
You
but
did like 80s, 90s. It'd be good like once every couple years maybe to come back to like a
yes,
few of the special schemes, but it doesn't have to be a couple times a year. I think it's just that kind of overdoes it.
oh, 100%. Yeah, totally agree with you on that one. All right. And so you've kind of lost interest in the sport of NASCAR. What can NASCAR do to bring you back as a fan? Because, I mean, obviously, in the NASCAR circles, we're always talking about how we can bring the fans back. You're
Yeah.
quintessential of someone who was a fan, kind of lost interest in it. You're still interested in it because you still make videos every now and then about it.
Mhm.
Um, so how could NASCAR bring you back as a fan for them to take notes on?
Honestly, I would say allow them to race, get rid of the gimmicks, and just make it about pure racing. I think that's what every racing fan wants. They don't want playoffs. They don't want overtime cautions. They don't want competitive cautions. They want like authentic racing. And if it means just somebody blows the hell out of everyone else, I think they're okay with that because it just means they were the best car and best driver that day.
Yeah,
And I think that too, you do get proper storylines that build up over time. The 1992 championship race in Atlanta, for example. You
yeah,
had Richard Petty's final race, Jeff Gordon's debut, six drivers for the championship. You didn't need any gimmicks or playoffs for that. It just came authentically, and it was one of the most like iconic races in NASCAR history for that
yeah,
very same reason. And I think if you can get back to that, I think you will at least get back to like that sort of cult following you had in the 80s and 90s that slowly built up. I don't think you're getting back to what you were in the early to mid 2000s. I think the NFL is just too much of a stranglehold. And at the same time, you don't have the iconic drivers you did in the past. Like, nothing against the current drivers nowadays, but if you were to show people like William Byron, Tyler Reddick, or Brad Keselowski, I don't think they're going to identify them. But if you show someone like Terry Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, oh, they will easily identify those.
yeah, exactly. And also, the thing is with the modern drivers is they don't have a personality. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people who grew up with people, I mean, a racing family,
Racing family or
one
had a lot of money.
exactly. So if you have, I mean, if you have one of those two things, let's be honest, the personality doesn't really shine through because there's not a lot of, oh, I need to get this like for a purpose or for a reason. No, you're just doing this for fun on the weekends. So
Oh, yeah.
Um, Noah Gragson, he's definitely one of those drivers that like he did come from money in that sense, but he's like making his personality show through and feeding into the narrative, which I really like because I don't know if you saw the picture of him shirtless with the American flag during photo
I did
day,
not.
but that's what we need. But the thing is, we need it from actually the drivers who are running up front on a consistent basis. So, um, but yeah,
Oh, I see it. He's kind of doing the Hulk Hogan slash Hacksaw Jim Duggan minus the 2x4.
exactly. So
Nice.
I thought it was like the picture of like, oh yeah, NASCAR's back. We love this. But we need more drivers to be wanting to go outside of their skin. There's too many drivers who are wanting to keep it PG and but then also NASCAR wants to fine a lot of drivers and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Actions detrimental to NASCAR, $50,000 fine. Congratulations. I think what also is the sponsors. I think they have a lot of sway too. And with the sponsor quality taking a dip over the past 10, 15 years, I don't think they want to lose them, especially if you're a team. Like, look what happened with Daniel Dye. He goes out, he makes fun of a Formula, an IndyCar driver who's far more successful than him. He's
yep.
just a part timer at Colleague Racing. He's not that good. Maybe he had like a top 10 in ARCA, but guess what, buddy? You are replaceable. Bye bye racing career. See
Yeah.
ya.
And then also the stuff that came out about that. Did you see the whole scandal with his foundation?
No, I did not. I know they were opening Pokemon cards and he put on like a extremely over the top gay accent, but that's all I've really known about it. I didn't know about
So
the foundation.
So pretty much what happened was is people started digging into the finances of the foundation that sponsors him or the sponsor or the foundation that him and his father put together, Race to Stop Suicide. They found out 70% of the foundation's money goes straight into his racing career.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's just one, it was one of the things that's like, damn, he really just screwed himself. Like you shouldn't be doing shady stuff and then putting a gay voice on someone who's a more successful driver than you.
Yeah, it's
So yep. Big scandal
I'm seeing it
there.
right now, but dude, 70%. Like, why would you even donate? There's a lot of charity fraud, and a lot of people get afraid of donating to charities because of it, even if you vet, but still, most of it's going towards your racing career, and most of that's probably getting paid to the teams that he's driving for as a
Oh,
pay
100%.
driver, which is it's heinous.
Yeah, exactly. So he's really just putting the brand on the side of a car. Well, and the thing is, you look at the how much the donations are, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, it makes sense because he only got like 500,000 in donations.
But still,
He's
half a
small.
million earns you about a year in like the truck series or ARCA, if that.
No, that's like probably a few races. So,
Oh shit.
so it made sense of like, oh, this. I mean, if you really look at the documents, if they're only getting this much money in foundation money, but the fact that it's still 70% is going to the teams is
Yeah.
insane.
Still.
So, yeah, let's get on to some more good topics.
Mhm.
What do you see from NASCAR in the future? And do you see them bringing back more fans? What do you think the trajectory is for NASCAR?
Ooh, I mean, NASCAR, with how bad last year was, with the lawsuit, how everything ended, the playoffs the last few years, I mean, it's hard to see it go further down, right? I feel like you could at least go up. The racing's been pretty good this year. I know there's still a lot they can do, but at the same time, it's at least showing some steps where you're at least having some improvement. I think
Yes.
also with Formula One going through some hiccups too, both in and out of their control, I think that's helping a little bit as well. But I think the thing is, as long as they just focus on the racing, I think it'll slowly come back, but it's going to take a long time. I think the problem
Yeah.
is it took a long time for it to fall to this point. It's going to take a bit to regain that trust and build it back up. It's not going to come overnight. It's just the nature of the beast in general. It comes through ebbs and flows, ups and downs,
Hmm.
sideways. It's just how things go. I mean, I mean, shoot, worst case scenario it might take decades, but at the same time, you just hope the France family doesn't get in their own way and say like, "Oh, this isn't working. We're going to go back to playoffs." That's just going to drive everyone away. Like it's just you might splinter the league like kart style.
Yeah,
So you got to be careful about that.
exactly. Yeah, and the thing is, I think what NASCAR is doing really well right now, is that I mean the points, the fact that we can look at points nowadays. I'm I'm actually looking at points every week and going, oh, where did
Yep,
everyone go? Where's it
exactly.
at? If years past, we're at the sixth race of the season, I'm like, I don't give a rat's ass
Yeah,
who
because
where
if
everyone
you
is.
win, you automatically clinch. I think the thing is like you
Yeah,
don't clinch when you win. That's huge. It's no longer a win and in system, which was just the ultimate insult to a lot of drivers. For example, Harrison Burton, great story, but he shouldn't have been in the playoffs when he was ranked 36th out of 36 drivers.
yeah. But yeah, we saw Bubba Wallace like just come out of nowhere. In terms of like, well, people were saying before he's not a playoff driver. And then now you've got it where he's in top four in points, and people now, or I think he's second in points still.
Yeah.
People have to admit he's a great driver. And
2311 is a hell of an outfit too. I mean, they probably have the best cars on the circuit right now, especially with how Reddick's dominating.
exactly, yeah, 100%. And it's going in a good direction for the team. And it's showing the talent of the drivers now. It's not just showing, oh, that hey, this guy can win one race. He's in the
Hmm.
playoffs. He's a great driver.
Of
No, it's
course.
showing that people need to have consistency, and that's really great.
And that's the key with racing. It's about consistency. And if you can keep that consistency and build that 36 race momentum, I think it's going to drive more people in because it creates those season long storylines that you want to come back every week. With the old system, it was just like, oh, every week is a new week. And you're trying to make every race into a game seven. Problem is, when every race is a game seven, none of them are. Now,
Exactly.
if you can slowly build up to that game seven, guess what? You're going to get more people involved, more people interested, and be like, oh, you know what? There's going to be a big race in Atlanta a couple weeks that might settle a championship race. There's like a four-way lead for the points. You know what? I'm going to watch that and see how it goes.
Or hey, I'm gonna keep my mind on it because like, hey, this is kind of getting exciting. I'm gonna keep my mind on it. So then when it comes to the
Hmm.
final race and it's like, oh, there may be two drivers who can win the championship, they're gonna watch the two. And also, if you have four drivers going for the championship at the end of the year, it's not entertaining, in my
If
opinion.
it's if it's like forced, like the playoff system was. If
Yeah,
it's like organic, then it's fine. But not
yeah,
if it's like, oh, they all have the same amount of points and you have to just automatically. Then why watch the other 35 races?
exactly. And also, the thing that really pissed me off about it was if you really take the extreme example, Someone could lead every lap of every race of
Hmm.
the
And then
entire
lose the
season.
last lap, get breakdown, and lose.
Yeah. Well, and you could be in the final lap, final turn, and someone from another team blows a tire, hits your car, boom, you've lost the championship.
Yep.
That's like the dumbest thing in the world. Or you could have someone who literally drops out of the race on the first lap for the entire season, wins one race,
Hmm.
then wins one race in each section, and
Hmm.
then just wins the final race. That's champion right there. And that was a
Or
stupid system.
or Kyle Busch, he misses a third of the year, still makes the playoffs on an exemption, wins the championship.
Exactly. Yep. It was just ridiculous of how the system was set up. But now we're kind of going back to what we used to
Yeah.
have, and that's awesome.
I
So,
said, if we can go back to a 36 race system, I mean, I don't think they are, but I think that would be, I'm team 36 races. But
yeah.
once
And
again, it's,
yeah.
as I said, I think like with the France family, I don't think that's going to be, I think the chase is a fair compromise for what it is.
Yeah. Well, what I've heard is that the chase is like a placeholder in terms of going to a 36 race because what I've kind of gathered from it was there was already contracts in place by
Mm,
teams, drivers, NASCAR that my car has to be in the playoffs. So now this car is not in the playoffs. Well, now we have to redo all these contracts.
mm,
So
mm.
it was just like a saving grace of like, oh, you're already asking sponsors for a lot. You're already asking drivers and teams for a lot. Let's go ahead and just not worry about renegotiating every single contract of every single team. And let's just focus on, okay, let's let's put a system together that's good, and then we'll focus on getting it right in the future once we have a place. Now we have a placeholder in set.
Yeah. I thought it was also because of the TV deals. I thought there was something
Yes.
involved there.
Yep, 100% too. The TV deals wanted to have something where we have a postseason or preseason and a postseason. So all of that combined, I think just the contracts, NASCAR
Mm,
wanted to keep it simple there. So
yeah.
yeah. So you had mentioned to me that you had gotten more into Formula One
Hmm.
in the past few years. What's piqued your interest about Formula One? What's got you interested in Formula One?
I think the thing with Formula One, it's racing. I think the thing is there's no real gimmicks involved in there. I know I mean, over the last couple of years, this year, mm, we'll see. But
Yeah.
as I said, it's of course the moment I praise Formula One, you have a bunch of things happening and out of their control. But I think the thing is, it's racing. And there's no real
Yes.
playoffs. There's no overtime line. There's no forced cautions. I mean, there are cautions, but as I said, it's just for severe emergencies, like a car breaks down on the circuit. There's a huge wreck. But it's just fascinating beasts of technology, and the meme culture is phenomenal in its own right.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The meme culture is amazing. Um, there's a few creators that we probably can't even name on the show because they're pretty crazy on some of their
Mhm.
memes. But the meme culture, yes, is great.
Especially Ferrari. Oh, Ferrari's the punching bag, and it's beautiful.
It's amazing. Love it. But at least they made a good car this year, you know? They can't be the
Yeah.
punch bag all year.
Well, it's either Ferrari or Mercedes. I think the problem is McLaren's had a horrible year. I
Yeah.
know Piastri, wait, it's Norris hasn't started two games. I know Piastri, like I think Piastri hasn't started two games or races. I know Norris, like both of them didn't start this past race, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. It's just
Yeah, yeah, they've had a rough year, but I mean, when you have a rule change like that, it's going to happen. And also, I think Mercedes kind of realized, hey, we're going to have the best engine and McLaren's probably going to be a competitor. Let's not go ahead and give all the information to our customer teams to kind of say, hey, we have the best engine, suck it up. So ride with us or die with us, you know. So maybe puts McLaren and the other teams back for a couple of years, but once they get everything figured out, I think they'll be right up there with McLaren
yeah,
or
I
Mercedes
think so
and
too.
Ferrari.
I think
Yeah,
that's just how a lot of the teams are. I mean, you hope like Team Cadillac, Team Haas, they managed to get things together on their front too. But
yeah,
as I said, it's tough to maintain a team in Formula, especially if you're a back marker or
yeah,
you don't make races. It can get very tough.
yeah. Um, how do you feel about Aston Martin this year?
Aston Martin, ooh, as I said, I haven't really been paying much attention to Aston Martin, unfortunately, but as I said, it's
With
I've been more or
the
less.
vibrations on the steering wheel.
Yeah, but there's so many issues with the car. So
Yeah,
you could do either or. I know, like, there are a lot of Mario Kart memes out there. It's like, oh,
yeah,
is somebody getting it's Lance Stroll with a blue shell? He's gonna take out Verstappen.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
maybe there's banana peels they're gonna start throwing. I know they're talking about the overtakes, but it's just the battery system they have now that's just kind of, as I said, it's very unpopular, and it just
Well,
turns it into kind of a gimmick in some aspects.
yeah, and the thing is, with a lot of these motorsports, like we got to realize that hybrid technology is the technology of racing going forward, really.
Hmm.
So, but the thing is, Formula One was like, okay, now we got to do this in this certain way. We got to do more hybrid power to kind of make it match. But then when you do that, teams are going to take advantage of it and do the fastest they can. Well, when you have that, then you create where people are like, cars slowing down on a straight, what is this? And I mean, obviously, when you had KERS in the past, I mean, you could test it whenever, but if you use KERS at the end of the straightaway, you would get a higher overall top speed. But the fastest way to do it was use KERS in the beginning of the straightaway.
Hmm.
So you would ultimately complete the straightaway faster, but you wouldn't have an overall top speed that was higher. Well, now KERS is now being used a lot more because there's more. It was hybrid power in the past. Now it's more hybrid power.
Hmm.
The teams are going to put it at the beginning of the straightaway because
Yeah.
overall you're going to get from point A to point B faster.
Yeah.
But
Faster acceleration.
overall, yeah, overall, but since now the hybrid is more power, now you're going to deplete your top speed at the end of the straightaway. So it's just racing series have got to get used to how they're going to implement it. And I think Formula One is going to change the way they do their rules to make it better, but it's just going to take time. People are going to have to learn the technology. Um, but I mean, I if it was my primary motorsport that I watch, my primary motorsport is NASCAR. I don't really see that big of a difference with it because I don't pay attention to it all that much. I pay attention to Formula One for the show, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
I think that's just how it is. It's like a car parade in some
Yeah,
aspects.
yeah. So Formula One's going to get better at it, but it's just they didn't realize, oh, this is going to happen. But when you look back at it, you're like, yeah, it was going to happen because the teams are going to take full advantage of it and make it the best way possible.
Yeah.
So
I have a question. I know, like, you're more familiar with the cars, especially with your career. Like, how are the comparisons of the modern Formula One car to the car of tomorrow back in 2007? Like, are there any legitimate complaints there, or is it just like one of those hyperbolic comparisons?
I would say, it's more like, so the car of tomorrow, the problem with the car of tomorrow was that it slowed the cars down
Hmm.
and it made them a little bit harder to drive and more clunky to drive. I don't think the Formula One cars are more clunky to drive. Actually, yes, I would agree in that sense of where it's more clunky to drive, it's more inconsistent. But I would compare it almost to when NASCAR went to the low downforce package, where NASCAR it was easier to drive the cars in some sense, but you would get pack racing, but it wasn't as interesting. Like
Yeah,
it was
you're
interesting.
just jammed up, but at the
Yeah, it
same
was
time, when it's just endless pack racing, there's no like unique factor to it. It's like, okay, you're all jammed up, cool.
yeah, but and then Formula One, it's kind of that way, but you can kind of get some separation, but it's artificial
Yeah.
fun when it comes to the racing.
And that's the problem with racing. Once you're artificial, you lose interest because racing is, it has to be organic or else nobody's going to watch.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think with Formula One, it's a little bit different because you have a road course and people can go back and forth. Once they get separated a little bit, they're fine. But I think if you get them in a pack, wherever, I mean, right now there's so much difference in like the speed, how people are developing thing or the engines, the cars. I think it's fine because there's separation. People can still overtake. But I think you might get to a point where everyone's so close like they were last year, and it's hard to pass. It'll be pack racing where it's no longer interesting. It's just people trading positions, and who's ever
Yeah.
going to be in front at the end is going to win. So it could become something that it's not, and it could be uninteresting. But I think in the moment, I think we're enjoying it, and I think we should enjoy it. But I think in a couple years time frame, I think Formula One needs to fix it, or else they're going to have a pack racing Daytona where it's artificial type of thing.
Yeah. And then you have that huge scandal, and guess what? People are just going to turn off, which might
Exactly.
actually end up helping NASCAR if that happens.
Exactly. But at the same time, I mean, I want to see all motorsports succeed. So,
Of course.
if Formula One needs to go down for NASCAR to go up, I don't want that. But it could put people more towards NASCAR because they're like, oh, like Formula One's awesome, but also NASCAR is awesome. So I think it might be a good cohesive moment for NASCAR and Formula
Hmm.
One. Um, so what drivers interest you in Formula One at the
Ooh,
moment?
I mean, I'm trying to think like drivers. I mean, obviously Verstappen, even though he's having a bit of a
Yeah.
struggle so far this year. Kimi Antonelli has looked very promising. I know very young, very raw, but has a lot of talent. He won his first
Yes.
race this past week. And I know like as if he gets like that sort of like wildness out of him, I think he'll be a fantastic driver. I would say those two.
Yeah, absolutely. Antonelli, he's definitely um he's one to watch there, but I don't know if he's gonna win the championship this year. I think Russell's kind of got it on
Yeah,
lock.
I think so too. I think it may need another year or two for Antonelli to really compete for a championship per se.
Yeah, I feel like it might be like a Nico Rosberg situation where he might come out and steal one from George in the next couple of years. But at the same time, you never know. George could gain that confidence and just keep rolling with it, keep rolling with it.
Hmm.
Um, so it's interesting in that front, but yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from on Verstappen. Verstappen's just someone you got to watch, but also he's a complainer.
Yeah, well, he's been complaining about this car nonstop. I
Yeah,
know that's been one of the major headlines. I know,
yeah.
as I said,
And
it's
the thing is, whenever your star drivers are unhappy with the car, that's when the sport goes downhill, and
yep,
that's
that's
where
what happened
NASCAR
with
started to go
NASCAR.
down.
I
Yep.
mean, it happened with the playoff system too. I mean, Carl Edwards, he's been very public. He retired because of it.
Well,
Partially, but
he was mostly one to go back with his family, but I there was probably, I mean, Carl stated he was like, yeah, it's no point. I mean, I'm gonna come out here and race for 36 weeks just for a caution to come out.
yeah,
Why would I come race?
exactly.
So, and then also with them going to a lower downforce package, I don't think that helped him at all, wanting
No,
to stay there. So,
yeah, it didn't fit his racing style.
for sure. So, what are your predictions for this year's championship in terms of Formula One?
Ooh, as I said, it's mostly a Mercedes Ferrari like two horse race. Unless
For sure.
McLaren gets their mechanical issues out of the way, I would say it's probably going to be Mercedes. I think it will be George Russell, as you had mentioned earlier. I think he'll be him, and then maybe Leclerc. But I don't think Hamilton has the sort of pace that he used to have to really like compete for another championship. I think he'll be close, but I don't know if he's going to be there again per se.
For sure. And I also think like for Hamilton, he's had to learn a different way of like learning data because
Hmm.
he went from always having been in British teams, now he's in an Italian team.
Hmm.
So not only are you having kind of a little bit of a communication barrier, I mean, they all speak English, but there's a little bit of communication error of like how the car is performing because any driver can tell you if you go to another pit area you're going to be talking a little bit different. So
Hmm.
he's got to learn that. And then he's also said like the data is backwards. So he's had to
Hmm.
retrain his mind on the data. And I think that's kind of hindering him in a way. Um, so I think Leclerc is going to probably beat out Hamilton um, on that front too. Um, but I want to know your thoughts. How many wins do you think Ferrari's getting this year?
Ooh,
And
that's a tough.
do you think McLaren can steal a win as well?
I think, as I said, if McLaren can get rid of their mechanical issues, I think they can take one or two, maybe three wins. Because they still have the talent, they still have the reputation. I think they can do it. as I said, once again, it's only been two races, but I mean,
Yeah.
with the April races next, maybe they use that time for R&D testing and just work hard on just trying to figure out a lot of stuff. Because if you have a bunch of drivers that can't make it to the starting gate, that's a
Yep.
huge problem.
Yeah, 100%. And we had like four, and in China, we had four cars drop out before the start of the race, which is
Mhm.
unheard of. The
Yeah,
last time that happened
especially for
was
modern Formula One. That like, that had to be since like the 80s or something when that happened.
the last time that happened, that the last time that actually happened was 2014, but
Mm,
that was in Austin, but two teams dropped out simultaneously because they didn't have any money. So they
yeah.
just didn't put the cars on the grid. So
Yeah.
that was a once in a
Yeah, like
blue
the
moon.
only other one was the infamous 2006 US Grand Prix in Indianapolis, but that's well known.
Yeah, and that's not, I mean, that wasn't mechanical issues. That was just
That was
teams
the
being like,
track and the tire.
yeah, the teams being like, there's no point. Um, but yeah, so that's definitely, they need to get kind of that together. Um, what do you, lower down in the standings, what do you think, like, what's your biggest, like, shakeup prediction?
Ooh, that's interesting. I mean,
Not in terms of drivers, but like in terms of standings, who do you think is going to
hmm.
press this year?
I mean, honestly, I'm there's a part of me that thinks Team Cadillac could do something, but as I said, it's just I don't think they're going to be anything amazing. Maybe one driver in the top 10. I think maybe that could be feasible, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's a one-year team. You're still trying to figure some stuff out. I think they may like if they're lucky steal a podium, but I think that's like going to be my team to watch, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, stealing a podium for Cadillac has got to be one of the biggest. If that
Yeah.
happens,
Well, I
like,
mean, there's been some crazy stuff. I mean, dude,
yes.
Isaac Hadjar got a podium last year.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
yeah.
Anything can happen. So I'm not saying that's the craziest prediction I've ever heard, but it's
Yeah.
one of.
No,
Uh,
craziest prediction would be Team Cadillac wins a race.
there
That's
you
a
go.
bold pick.
Hey, let's do it. Let's have it happen.
Team America,
So,
baby. Let's go.
yes, 100%. No, Haas 1, 2, Cadillac 3. There you go.
Oh,
There you
baby.
go. That one of the pipe dream predictions right there.
Oh, yeah.
Um, what do you think is going to be the biggest driver lineup shakeup for the 2027 season?
Hmm. I mean, I'm trying to think if there are any top prospects, more or less, that are coming in. I would say, can can Red Bull keep Verstappen happy? That's the main thing because they've always had trouble filling that second seat. And if like they've had a lot of turmoil there too, like if they can't keep him happy, he might move. I know. Um, does Hamilton does he move on from Ferrari maybe to a British team that like maybe a little less power but gets him more comfortable?
Yeah,
I would say probably no changes with McLaren. I would say probably um, like no changes with Mercedes. I think they're fine with their driver team. As I said, like it mostly depends on how the season unfolds before I
yeah,
really like make any other bold predictions, I would say.
yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I definitely agree. But I would say, do we? Okay, here's a big one for you. So Alonso's been in Formula One for like 20 something years.
Yes.
He's at like 25 years. The car is awful this year, the point where he had to retire because of fatigue. Do you think Fernando Alonso retires after this year?
I was thinking potentially that too. I know, like, as I said, he had been on kind of the downswing for the last 5 or so years. He can still race, but as I said, sometimes it's just if the car isn't good, the results aren't there, you're just kind of maybe. I don't know if he even retires. He might just get forced out and be like, look, we want to go with someone younger. And then maybe do that, and that might force him out. I know it's happened to a few other drivers, especially in like the North American circuits. But as I said, it's a realistic possibility.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't think he will get forced out. I think he might just kind of just go, you know what? I'm good, guys. This has been great, but like
Hmm.
no point in just doing this at the back of the field. But I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody higher up in the grid calls him and he gets in there. So
Maybe an emergency. Could be one of those situations where a driver gets injured and he just gets called up and be like, "Hey, Fernando, you want a spot for a couple races?" Be like, "Okay."
hey, speaking of emergency, what do we think the future is for Alex Bowman on NASCAR side?
Oh, yeah. As I said, there are a lot of rumors going around that he may never race again.
Yeah,
Especially you had mentioned with Vertigo. I know, as I said, it's that stuff is very, very scary. I mean, Ernie Irvan had the same issues for a long time and it forced him out of racing.
yeah,
So, my question is like, who would replace him in like the 48, I believe? Like, would it
yeah.
be someone like one of their like developmental drivers? Would it be like they would they poach someone else from like the Xfinity series? Would it be somebody else or O'Reilly series? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just getting confused again.
Yeah.
But as I said, it's just there are a lot of questions you have to ask, and I know, like, I'd rather emphasize dude's health instead of, okay, he's gonna have vertigo, especially with, 9,000 RPMs, and you're just like your head's just still spinning, even with the Hans system. One screw up, you're not only threatening your own life, you're threatening everyone else's life.
Exactly. And also, well, the thing, yeah, it's also who goes in that seat because there's a lot of like, I mean, there's nobody in the Hendrick pipeline that can really take his spot. The thing is, I would say maybe Hocevar, but Hocevar just signed a 5-year contract with Spire. The only thing I can think of, because you got Corey Day, Raja Caruth as the two
Hmm.
people in their pipeline.
Yeah, but they're not ready yet.
No, neither one of them are. So who do you put in there for a couple of years? And I've seen a lot of people talk about Kyle Busch as
Mm,
like a replacement, but I see Kyle going to Spire in my opinion.
yeah,
Because
I
like,
would say like it would have to be like a driver that as I said, might be like a 1 year fix, maybe a Corey LaJoy, maybe a Matt DiBenedetto. Like the,
no,
the
I
the
don't see that
pickings
happening.
aren't that high, you know. Like it would
Yeah.
have to be, as I said, the pickings aren't very rich right now, unless you poach a driver from another team and hope for the best.
Yeah, and
But
I think Hendrick is more looking for a 2-year fix.
yeah.
Like one maybe 2-year fix. And do you call a Corey LaJoy when he's not really shown anything promising in Cup, or do you get someone like a who's on the way out? So it's a very interesting one where I
Yeah.
could see Corey LaJoy. I think probably the best two is probably Corey LaJoy, Kyle Busch, or you may have them to just say, "Hey, Allgaier, you done okay. Give you a year in Cup and then go back down to Xfinity where you or
Yeah.
O'Reilly where you belong." But
That's probably what would happen. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, he's not going to race full time. It's not like a Matt Kenseth situation where he just comes in cold and is able to race for a year. That's not going to happen.
no,
But like that, as I said, that's a pipe dream for Hendrick, but it's not
yeah.
happening.
I mean, maybe, I mean, the only other person, like those three, and then maybe you call up a Michael McDowell for a year, but then
Yeah,
because he's in
but as I
the
said,
Or Chevy pipeline, but it's like, no.
yeah, as I said, you're just there. You're just looking at 1 year fixes, and like as I said, it's just like guys who are in Cup may have done well for a little bit, but it's not like anyone who's gonna move the needle a bunch, like as the prestige of the 48.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, you got to find someone who can match the prestige, but there's
It's
not
not
really,
on the fly.
there's no
No.
one.
Yeah,
And which, as a like NASCAR or as a guy who wants to go into NASCAR, it's like, yeah, like there's plenty of talent to go around, but then you look and you're just like, who gets that seat? I
the
mean,
talent's not ready. I mean, the
well,
thing is, it needs time to develop. Like if you rush somebody from trucks and they're still trying to learn their craft to NASCAR, guess what? You're not just gonna have trouble. You might be a safety risk because you don't know the car. You still have to drive everything around, and especially with the touch and feel, one small slip up, you're wrecking the field.
exactly. And I mean, the only person I can think of that I'm like, oh yeah, 100% put him in the car is Corey Heim. But Heim has showed time and time again that he's loyal to the 2311 pipeline.
Mm.
Um, but hey, I mean, pipe dream scenario is Heim goes to the 48 because Hendrick needs a driver,
And you have a
and
full-time ride. Heim doesn't have a full-time ride.
exactly. I mean, that's like pipe dream if Heim really wants to jump ship that bad. If they don't give him a seat in 2027, I mean, I could see it. Heim just
Yeah.
being like, "Fuck it, I'm done. Let me go and prove myself." So,
Hmm.
but yeah, and that 48 team has been struggling this year. Like unloading 35th fastest with decent drivers is not a good sign at all.
Yeah, I think that's once again, it's just the chaos of new pit crew, new driver, and you don't have that chemistry. I think there's a little bit of that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, um, yeah, we kind of talked about everything when it comes to Formula
Absolutely,
One
man.
and all that kind of good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Um, what are you most excited about in the sports world in general?
Ooh, Stanley Cup playoffs. That's always my big thing, especially come April. That is a fun time.
Absolutely. Who you got for March Madness?
Oh, as I said, it's they had some good games. St. John's, Kansas, fantastic ending
Yep.
there. I was actually watching that live. I'm like, I thought St. John's was going to choke that, especially with every ball going Kansas's way, and then it's the last second layup. But I would probably say, well, Florida's out. Hmm, it's a tough call. I mean, do I go with shoot? I mean, do I go Duke and just say like their first round was a fluke? I don't know. ACC hasn't been doing that well this year in the
Yeah.
tourney.
Well, if so, I'm actually like top five in my office right now for our March Madness bracket.
Nice.
Um, and I chose UCLA to win. I just clicked random
UCLA.
buttons. So
Hey, that's how it would be with tournament too. Like I mean, I'm a Pitt fan, and they've been terrible. The only reason why they're keeping Jeff Capel is because they own $15 million, and they don't want to pay the buyout.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a good one on the March Madness side, Stanley Cup. Um, what do you think is going to be the biggest NFL draft shakeup?
Ooh, I mean, I think like there's going to be a big draft day trade. But as I said, number one, I don't think that's going anywhere. That's going to be Mendoza to the Raiders. But
Yep.
the question is, there's always a quarterback that randomly jumps up inexplicably way higher than he should be. And I think, especially with a QB class as weak as this, I think this is prime for it. Especially if someone like shines at a senior day of the combine. I know Ty Simpson might be that guy, might be somebody else, but who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on Mendoza going round or going first. So, all right. Well, if there's anything, well, there's not really anything else we can talk about there, but
Absolutely, man.
yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was a great conversation. I'm
Absolutely.
glad Connor got to get us together on this front. But yeah, thank you all for watching the Throttle Up podcast. How can people find your socials?
Absolutely. Well, I'm on Urinating Tree on YouTube, Urinating Tree on Twitter or X, or I mean, nobody calls it X. It's Twitter. But Urinating_tree on Instagram, and otherwise, I try to do videos every week. Next video will be on MLB Season Haters Guide, so I'll have that out later this week.
You heard it here first. Follow him on the Twitter,
The Twitters.
the
Yes, sir.
Twitters. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you all
Absolutely,
for
man.
watching the Throttle
Thank
Up
you for having me on,
podcast,
dude.
and have a good one.
Yes, sir.